Right, hello everybody and welcome to San Francisco Independent Short Film Festival. I'm Ian Bignell from Festival Formula, and today we will be speaking to some of the filmmakers featured in an animated world, which is always my soft spot. I love animation. Some of the most creative, inventive storytelling exists in animation. Mary, so you have the cat, which first of all, I thought looked absolutely beautiful because it's a mixture. It's mainly black and white with a little bit of color involved in it here and there. And I was really transfixed with this sort of shadow chasing after the child in terms of the way it kind of absorbs all the sort of the good things in the world. Where was the origins of this story come from when you created this animation?
Well, I am Iranian, and I left at the time of the revolution in Iran with a background of acting, producing, and second generation actor. So I found my ways through the past 4 decades in order to expose the situation that existed there, either it was via theater or cinema or television. So I've been an activist via my form of work. Either it's been a play titled Beneath the Veil, or in movies that I have created, feature films that I've created. There has always been a message for women, for the situation in the Middle East, particularly the situation in Iran, and the brutality that exists in that particular region and the country due to the government that they have. So animation has always been a favorite of mine, but I have never touched it. And so I came up with the idea because of the journey that I have taken as a woman, as an Iranian woman, through the years, and to see what is happening in Iran and what is happening in the region. And then the Me Too movement came by. So all of these influences, I decided to make it through animation because it's a very powerful form of art. So the idea of the little girl running away from this large shadow, that she's selling flowers in the streets of Tehran and all the elements. And then I brought in all the other aspects of what's happened in Iran for the past 40 years with the trafficking, with prostitution, with the brutality of the regime, with how music has gone away and they're actually throwing the instruments in the hot area, so it all burns, and her trying to find the courage in order to stand up to this. At the end of her run, which eventually she does through some inner insight, and she wants to fight and she wants to go to a glorious world. I really wanted to explore this concept with the world in a matter of 9-10 minutes and say, this is what the real world is in that region, and pay attention to it and a reflection of that.
Yeah, I mean, because corruption is one thing that you really highlight in it, because you have these kind of like evil, sinister characters. They almost look like No Face from Studio Ghibli kind of thing, in terms of like these haunting spirits that are kind of wandering around. I was really kind of like, I mean, I think I took a sweeping view of what is almost like a reflection of capitalism in a way, in terms of like sucking the freedom and the artistic nature of society out, and then turning it into something else, and taking that creative energy and burning it in something that's really just not that useful. It's almost like fueling the machine, so to speak. Again, was that sort of another approach of that? Was capitalism another side to the story that you wanted to tell? Because I kind of got that corporate feel from it as well.
Well, I am not necessarily going to say capitalism, but I would say that the general feel and the nuances and the dynamics of the world, in particular in the past 40 years, since the revolution happened in Iran, which changed the world literally on multitude of levels in many different ways. It affected the neighboring countries. It affected Europe. It affected the Islamic concept. It affected 9/11 situation, suicide bombers, trafficking, prostitution that is a very high level in Iran. So my journey as an artist is that I have absorbed all that, and I have reflected on the screen of cinema or theater, but I've never done it via animation. And I realized that how much place I have in animation more to create this. And it fascinated me. Actually, I'm working on another project for animation now. And I don't call myself an animation filmmaker or an animator, but as far as conceptually, the whole idea of what happened around us in the past 40 years, which affected me as a young woman when I came to the United States with the hostage crisis, with so much challenges that I had personally, and I somehow survived and started making movies and doing the theater and all that. But this is a fantastic format in order to communicate with the audience, animation of the troubles in the world. And I definitely wanted to have a happy ending to it, because I think we have so much, particularly with the Me Too movement, since I felt that women are standing up for themselves. And what a wonderful thing that has happened, in which we can actually project our inner power. And that's why this little girl, against all the darkness that is coming towards her, she fights it and she conquers, and she goes to the beauty of life and starting a new life.
Now, I think it's important as well because we need to hear more Iranian and Middle Eastern stories, because it's become very difficult to always get Iranian films into the US, into Europe. It's complicated for many, many different reasons. So the fact that voices are being heard from that region, important stories, and also to highlight and echo what you just said about animation. I think animation, you're only limited by your mind. And essentially you can make a blank piece of paper, turn into something beautiful.
Precisely.
And make it what you need it to be, where sometimes I think live action can be very costly to try and recreate what's in your mind. So I think animation is a very interesting, certainly a more artistic approach to storytelling. And I definitely think that your film definitely ticks a lot of those boxes, and it was a joy to watch. So thank you very much, Mary.
Thank you.